My family mocked me as I entered my sister's gala alone. She's a failure, nitrogen monoxide, one wants her. My father bellowed, shoving me into the champagne fountain. Guests roared with laughter. Soaked, I grinned and whispered, "You'll regret this." Half an hour later, my hidden multi-billionaire spouse stormed in, and their faces turned to SH. The red wine hit me like a slap, soaking my couture gown and dripping down my face in rivulets that tasted of betrayal. I stood frozen in the grand ballroom of Seattle's Fairmont Olympic Hotel, the epicenter of my sister Chloe's wedding, as 500 elite guests gasped, then jeered. My father, Victor Harper, stood 10 feet away, his empty crystal glass glinting under the chandeliers, his face twisted with the same contempt I'd known since childhood. "You're a disgrace, Olivia," he roared, his voice amplified by the microphone, slicing through the festive hum of the reception. "Always were, always will be." The crowd's laughter stung worse than the wine. Phones were out, cameras flashing, social media already buzzing with the hashtag Harper wedding scandal. My mother, Evelyn, pressed a manicured hand to her chest, feigning shock, but her eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Chloe, my younger sister, radiant in her Vera Wang gown, smirked from the head table, her new tech heir husband, Julian Pierce, whispering something that made her laugh harder. I was 34, the black sheep of the Harper dynasty, and tonight my family had orchestrated my public crucifixion. But they didn't know who I really was. Not yet. I wiped the wine from my chin, my fingers trembling not with fear but with a fury I'd suppressed for decades. My earpiece crackled Rachel, my deputy at the CIA, her voice urgent. "Director Harper, we've got a bridge in Seoul. Hostile assets are moving. Awaiting your orders." I was the youngest ever director of National Intelligence Operations, commanding covert missions that kept nations safe. But here in this gilded cage of Seattle's elite, I was just Olivia, the disappointing daughter. I muted the earpiece, my heart pounding. This wasn't just a family spat. This was war. Let me take you back, because to understand why I stood there, drenched and defiant, you need to know the battlefield I'd been navigating my whole life. The Harpers weren't just rich, they were Seattle royalty. Harper Innovations. My father's tech conglomerate powered half the city's startups and held contracts with the Pentagon. Our Capitol Hill mansion, with its glass walls and infinity pool, screamed success to the world. But inside, it was a war zone, and I was the collateral damage. From my earliest memories, I was measured against Chloe, 2 years younger, but somehow the sun around which our family orbited. At 10, I won first place at the state science fair, a solar-powered drone I'd built from scratch. My parents didn't show. They were at Chloe's ballet recital, where she played a sugar plum fairy and got a standing ovation. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" My mother would sigh, her voice sharp as a scalpel. "Chloe's a star, you're just adequate." Victor was worse. A tech mogul with a temper, he saw me as a flaw in his perfect brand. "Stand up straight, Olivia," he'd bark at galas, his hand heavy on my shoulder. "No one respects a slouch." Evelyn, a former model who chaired Seattle's most exclusive charity boards, would chime in. "Chloe has natural grace. You have to work harder, darling." By high school, I'd learned to shrink, to take up less space, to avoid the spotlight that always shone on Chloe, but shrinking didn't save me. At my senior prom, a gala fundraiser for Harper Innovations, I was set to give a speech about my robotics project, a rare moment of pride. Victor took the stage first, praising Chloe's upcoming modeling contract. "My daughter's going places," he said, his eyes skipping over me. The crowd applauded. Then, as I stepped to the podium, a stage light crashed down, missing me. By inches, the room screamed. I froze, my heart hammering. Later, the tech crew called it a freak accident, but I saw Vanessa, my vindictive cousin, smirking in the wings. Someone in my family or their circle wanted me silenced. I never proved it, but the fear lingered. College was my escape. I went to Stanford, majoring in political science, pulling a 4.0 while interning for intelligence agencies. I thrived in the shadows, analyzing data, cracking codes, learning to outsmart threats. My parents didn't care. They skipped my graduation to attend Chloe's Paris fashion show, where she walked for Chanel. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Evelyn said over the phone, her tone implying my degree was anything but. I graduated alone, my cap and gown feeling like armor against their neglect. By 31. I was a rising star at the CIA, leading operations that stopped cyber attacks and dismantled terror networks. My identity was classified, my life a labyrinth of aliases and encrypted calls. My family thought I was a mid-level bureaucrat, pushing papers for some government agency. They never asked for details. Why would they? Chloe was the influencer, the philanthropist, her Instagram boasting millions of followers, her charity galas covered by Vogue. I was just Olivia, the spinster sister who couldn't land a man. Then I met Ethan Caldwell. It was at a NATO summit in Brussels where I was briefing allies on a Russian hacking ring. Ethan, a former Navy SEAL turned CEO of Caldwell Security, a $1 trillion defense contractor, was there to pitch his firm's quantum encryption tech. He was 6'3", all muscle and quiet intensity, his blue eyes locking onto mine during my presentation. "You're not just a suit," he said later, over coffee in a secure lounge. "You're the real deal." For the first time, someone really saw me without the Harper family's distorting lens. Our connection was electric, dangerous. We dated in secret, our lives too high stakes for public romance. 18 months later, we married in a covert ceremony in Iceland under the aurora borealis, with only my deputy Rachel and Ethan's brother Liam as witnesses. "I don't care about your family's drama," Ethan told me, slipping a platinum band onto my finger. "I care about you." We kept our marriage hidden, not just for security, but because I wanted one part of my life untainted by the Harpers. Poison, which brings me to Chloe's wedding. The invitation arrived 6 months ago, gold embossed, reeking of excess. Chloe was marrying Julian Pierce, heir to a rival tech empire, in a spectacle designed to cement the Harpers' dominance. The Fairmont Olympics ballroom was transformed into a wonderland of white orchids and crystal, a $2 million affair with 500 guests, senators, CEOs, influencers. Ethan was in Dubai, neutralizing a terrorist financing network, and couldn't make it. "I'll try to catch the reception," he promised. "Don't let them break you." I drove alone to the hotel, my black Range Rover, a quiet rebellion against the family's fleet of Bentleys. My gown, a deep sapphire Givenchy, hugged my frame, chosen to signal confidence I didn't feel. Diamond studs, Ethan's gift, sparkled at my ears. I checked my reflection in the rearview mirror, my dark hair swept into an elegant updo. "You faced worse than this," I told myself, but my stomach churned. I hadn't seen my family in 2 years, not since I'd started declining their toxic holiday invites. The usher at the ballroom entrance frowned at my invitation. "Miss Harper, you're at table 27, he said, his tone apologetic. Table 27 was by the service entrance. A deliberate slight. I nodded, swallowing the insult, and made my way through the crowd. The room was a sea of wealth Rolexes flashing, designer gowns swishing, champagne flowing like water. My cousin Vanessa spotted me first, her Botox smile venomous. "Olivia, you actually showed? And alone, as usual? No +1? Her friends tittered, their eyes raking over me like vultures. "I'm here for Chloe," I said coolly, refusing to take the bait. Vanessa leaned in, her perfume cloying. Aunt Evelyn says you're still single. What was it? That accountant who dumped you? So tragic. A lie, of course. I'd never dated an accountant, but the Harpers loved their narratives. I forced a smile. You've got me confused with someone else, Vanessa. More relatives piled on. My Uncle Richard, a Harper Innovations VP, clapped me on the shoulder. Still shuffling papers for the government, Liv? Ever think of a real career? You're not getting any younger. My Aunt Clara chimed in, eyeing my gown. That's a bold color. Very discount rack chic. I sipped my water, my CIA training. Keeping my face neutral, let them think I was a nobody. The truth would hit harder. Then came the first real threat. A server, his eyes darting nervously, handed me a glass of champagne. Compliments of the bride, he muttered. I raised it to my lips, but something was off, a faint chemical aftertaste on the rim. My training kicked in. I accidentally knocked the glass over, the liquid spilling across the tablecloth. The server paled and vanished into the crowd. Poison, a paralytic. I couldn't be sure, but my pulse raced. Someone here wanted me out of the picture. Dinner began, a parade of caviar and Wagyu beef. From table 27, I watched my family at the center table, holding court like royalty. Victor, in a bespoke tux, laughed with a senator. Evelyn, dripping in diamonds, air-kissed a tech heiress. Chloe and Julian posed for photographers, their smiles blinding. I was invisible, exactly as they wanted. My great-aunt Mildred, seated beside me, squinted through her bifocals. Are you one of the Pierce girls? She asked. No, I'm Olivia, Victor and Evelyn's daughter. Her face blanked. They have another daughter. The sting was sharp, but I pushed it down. My earpiece buzzed again, Rachel, more insistent. Director, soul's escalating. We've got 3 agents pinned down. Need your call now. I excused myself to a quiet corner, whispering into my cums. Authorize extraction, but no lethal force unless absolutely necessary. Update me in 10. I was juggling national security while my family played their petty games. The irony wasn't lost on me. Back at the table, Vanessa's maid of honor speech was in full swing, a gushing ode to Chloe. She's like the sister I never had, she said, her eyes flicking to me with malice. The room applauded, oblivious to the erasure. Julian's best man followed, joking about Chloe being the Harper family's crown jewel. I clenched my napkin, my composure fraying. Then Victor stood, tapping his glass for attention. My friends, he began, his voice booming. Today is a triumph. Chloe, my pride and joy, has surpassed every expectation. From her first viral post to her global charity work, she's a beacon of Harper excellence. He turned to Julian. You're not just gaining a wife, but a legacy. The room cheered. Not a word about me, not a glance. I was a ghost in my own family. I stood to slip out, needing air, but Victor's voice stopped me cold. Leaving already, Olivia? He'd spotted me, the microphone still in hand, the crowd turning to stare. Typical. Running from family when it gets real. My cheeks burned, but I kept my voice steady. Just stepping out, Dad. I'm here. For Chloe. He advanced, his eyes glinting with malice. You're here alone, no date, no prospects. 34 and nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, Chloe's married a Titan. Why can't you ever measure up? The room went silent, tension crackling. I met his gaze, my voice low but firm. You don't know me, Dad. You never have. He laughed, a cruel bark. I know a failure when I see one. Then he grabbed a glass of red wine from a nearby table and hurled it at me. The liquid hit like a tidal wave, soaking my gown, my hair, my dignity. The crowd erupted gasps, laughter, applause. Someone shouted, "Harper." Family drama live. Phones recorded every second. My earpiece buzzed again. Rachel, frantic. Director, we've lost contact with the Soul team. Possible ambush. I was drowning in wine and duty, my world splitting apart. Chloe smirked from her throne, Evelyn's hand covered a fake sob, and Victor stood triumphant, the patriarch who'd finally broken me. Or so he thought. Something snapped inside me, not rage, but clarity. I was done hiding, done shrinking, done letting their lies define me. I wiped the wine from my face, my voice cutting through the noise. You'll regret this, Dad. You have no idea who I am. The laughter faltered, uncertainty rippling through the room. Victor's smirk wavered. Just for a second. Mia, Julian's cousin, appeared at my side, her face kind but wary. Olivia, come with me, she whispered, draping a shawl over my shoulders. She led me to a private lounge, her voice low. I know what it's like to be the outsider. The Pierces treat me the same way. I nodded, grateful but guarded. Thank you, Mia. She hesitated. Be careful. This family plays dirty. In the lounge, I retrieved my phone from my clutch miraculously dry and texted Ethan. Dad threw wine at me. It's bad. How close are you? His reply was instant, landing in 15. Security's already there. Hold tight. I slipped out to my car, parked discreetly in the hotel's underground lot, and changed into a tailored black suit, a CIA habit for emergencies. My gown was ruined, but I emerged like a phoenix, my resolve steel. As I re-entered the hotel, danger struck. Again. In a dimly lit hallway, a masked figure lunged at me, a knife glinting in their hand. My training took over. I sidestepped, grabbed their wrist, and twisted until the knife clattered to the floor. They fled, vanishing into a service stairwell. My heart pounded. This wasn't random. Someone at this wedding wanted me dead. I rejoined the reception, my suit drawing curious glances. The mood had shifted. Guests whispered, sensing the drama wasn't over. Then the ballroom doors burst open, and Ethan strode in, flanked by 6 security operatives in tactical gear. He was a force of nature, 6'3", his Tom Ford suit barely containing his seal-honed physique, his blue eyes blazing. The room fell silent, every head turning. He crossed to me in seconds, his hands cupping my face, thumbs brushing away the last traces of wine. You okay? He murmured, his voice a low rumble. I am now, I said, my heart studying. He turned to the crowd, his presence commanding obedience. I'm Ethan Caldwell, Olivia's husband, and I've got a problem with how you've treated my wife. The room exploded in whispers. Victor pushed forward, his face purple. This is a lie, some hired actor to embarrass us. Chloe stood, her voice shrill. She's making it up to ruin my wedding. Evelyn clutched her pearls, whispering to a friend. She's always been unstable. But Ethan's security team fanned out, their earpieces and weapons subtle but unmistakable. This wasn't a stunt. Ethan faced Victor, his voice cold as ice. I'm the CEO of Caldwell Security. Your company depends on my contracts, Harper. And I saw what you did to Olivia live on my team's feed. You assaulted my wife. He turned to the crowd. This man humiliated the youngest director of national intelligence operations at the CIA, Olivia. Harper saves lives while you mock. Her. Gasps echoed. A tech journalist tweeted furiously, the news going viral. My deputy Rachel and operative Marcus entered, their suits crisp, their faces all business. Director Harper, Rachel said, we need you on the Soul situation. It's critical. The title director hung in the air, shattering the Harper narrative. Victor stammered, director of what? Some desk job? Ethan's smile was razor sharp. She runs global CIA operations. Her clearance is higher than the president's. The crowd split, 2 factions forming. Victor's allies, corporate, titans and old money elites, rallied behind him, muttering about family discipline and Olivia's dramatics. But younger guests, tech innovators, and Mia's circle sided with me, their phones buzzing with support. The divide was stark, the tension electric dot, then a red laser dot danced across my chest a sniper, somewhere high. Ethan's team moved, like lightning shielding me, evacuating key guests. Get her out, Ethan barked, his hand on my arm. My earpiece screamed Rachel, director, the cyber attacks linked to Harper Innovations. Your father's tech might be compromised. The stakes skyrocketed. Was Victor involved in treason? We raced to the roof, a Black Hawk waiting, blades whirring. Evelyn appeared, breathless, her perfect facade cracking. Olivia, you can't leave. We're your family. I turned, my voice steady. Family doesn't throw wine at you. Or knives, or sabotage your life. Who am I to you, Mom? The daughter you love, or the status you crave? She had no answer, her eyes wide with something like fear dot as we boarded the helicopter. I looked back at the Fairmont, the glittering prison of my past. 5 questions burned in my mind, each a hook pulling me deeper into this war. Who sent the sniper, and how are they tied to my family's secrets? Is Victor's tech empire funding the cyber attic, threatening my agents? Why did Evelyn chase me to the roof guilt or damage control? Can Chloe's jealousy turn deadly, or is she a pawn? In a bigger game? What's the real target of the soul breach, and how does it connect to tonight? The chopper lifted off, Seattle's skyline falling away. I wasn't just Olivia Harper anymore. I was a force, and my family was about to learn what happens when you underestimate a woman who holds the world's secrets in her hands. The Black Hawk's blades sliced through the Seattle night, the city's glittering skyline shrinking below us as we sped toward a CIA safe house. I sat beside Ethan, his hand a steady anchor on mine, but my mind was a war zone. My father, Victor Harper, had thrown red wine in my face at my sister Chloe's wedding, a public humiliation that went viral. Worse, I'd narrowly escaped a poisoned drink, a knife attack, a sniper's laser, and a car bomb all within hours. As the youngest director of national intelligence operations at the CIA, I was used to threats, but these felt personal, tied to the family I'd spent years escaping. And now, my earpiece crackled with Rachel's voice. Director Harper, the cyber attic on our servers traces back to Harper Innovations Tech. Your father's company might be involved in treason. I muted the comms, my pulse hammering. Treason? Victor was a ruthless tech mogul, but a traitor. The accusation hung like a guillotine, threatening to sever the last threads of my loyalty to the Harper name. Ethan's blue eyes met mine, his still-honed instincts reading my turmoil. We'll figure this out, he said, his voice a low rumble over the rotor noise. You're not alone. But I felt alone, teetering on the edge of a truth that could destroy everything: my family, my career, my identity. The safe house was a nondescript warehouse in Seattle's industrial district, its rusted exterior hiding a fortress of encrypted servers and armed operatives. Inside, Rachel and Marcus, my elite CIA team, were already at work, their screens glowing with data streams. Rachel, her dark hair pulled into a tight bun, handed me a tablet. The soul breach is contained, but the cyber attic hit our classified database, mission logs, agent aliases. Someone's trying to expose our entire network. I scanned the tablet, my training suppressing the panic clawing at my chest. Harper Innovation software was the entry point? I asked, my voice steady despite the dread. Marcus, his broad shoulders tense, nodded. Their quantum encryption was embedded in our firewalls. Either it was hacked, or... He hesitated, his eyes flicking to mine. Or it was designed to betray us. The implication was a gut punch. Harper Innovations powered half the Pentagon systems, including my agencies. If Victor was complicit, the fallout would be catastrophic: agents dead, alliances shattered, my career in ruins. Get me proof, I ordered, and find the mole in our ranks. Someone's feeding intel to the enemy. Rachel's jaw tightened. Already on it, Director, but there's more. The attack signature matches a rival firm, Nexus Dynamics. They've been sniffing around Harper's contracts for years. Nexus Dynamics. The name sparked a memory Victor's late-night calls, his paranoia about competitors. Was he a victim or a player in a deeper game? I pushed the thought aside as Ethan's security chief, Dimitri, approached. Ma'am, we've got chatter from the wedding. Your father's rallying his board. He's threatening to sue Ethan for defamation and claiming you're unstable. I laughed, a bitter sound. Unstable? He threw wine at me in front of 500 people. Ethan's hand tightened on my shoulder. He's desperate, he said. His empire's crumbling, and he knows it. Dimitri held up a phone, a live feed. From X, the hashtag #HarperWeddingScandal was trending globally with thousands of posts. Some called Victor a tyrant, praising my resilience. Others, his corporate allies, painted me as a liar, a disgruntled daughter staging a coup. Seattle's elite were splitting into factions, Victor's old guard loyalists versus a younger, tech-savvy crowd rooting for my truth. The divide was a powder keg, and I was the spark. Then danger struck again. A red alert flashed on Rachel's screen, her voice sharp. Perimeter breach. Hostile drones incoming. The warehouse shook as explosions rocked the exterior, shrapnel pinging off reinforced walls. Ethan's team sprang into action, weapons drawn, while I grabbed a comms. Unit. Scramble countermeasures. I barked. Get those drones down. Marcus manned a console, deploying EMP pulses that dropped the drones like flies, but not before one detonated, blowing out a wall. Smoke filled the room, my lungs burning as I coughed out orders. Evacuate to secondary site. Protect the servers. We moved like a machine, Ethan shielding me as we raced to armored SUVs. The attack was surgical, targeting our data hub. Someone knew exactly where we were. As we sped through Seattle's rain-slicked streets, my phone buzzed an encrypted alert. Mole confirmed. Cody name, Viper, access level, Alpha. Alpha meant someone close, someone I trusted. Rachel? Marcus? The betrayal stung, but I had no time to process it. My safe house was compromised, my family was implicated in treason, and a sniper's laser had marked me hours ago. This wasn't just personal, it was a conspiracy dot. We reached the secondary safe house, a high-rise penthouse. Disguised as a tech startup's HQ, the Puget Sound glittered below, a deceptive calm. I gathered my team, my suit still smelling faintly of wine, and laid out the stakes. We have a mole, a cyber addict, and a family that might be selling out our country. I need answers, and I need them now. Rachel's eyes narrowed. Director, if Harper Innovations is dirty, your father could face prison. Are you ready for that? I met her gaze, my voice cold. If he's guilty, he's no father of mine. Ethan pulled me aside, his expression grim. There's something else. My team intercepted a call from your mother to Victor right after you left the wedding. She said she knows too much. We need to handle this. My stomach dropped. Evelyn, the poised matriarch who'd chased me to the helipad, begging to talk, what was she hiding? Her plea had seemed vulnerable, but now it felt like a trap. Handle what? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Ethan's jaw clenched. We don't know yet, but I'm not letting them near you. The tension broke when Rachel burst in. Director, we've got a lead on the sniper. Hotel security footage shows a figure on the balcony, hired through a dark web broker. Payment traces to an offshore account linked to Nexus Dynamics. The pieces were falling into place, but they didn't fit. If Nexus was behind the attacks, why use Harper's tech? Was Victor a puppet or the puppeteer? I needed to confront him, but not yet. First, I had to survive. My phone lit up with a text from Mia, Julian's cousin, the only ally I'd found at the wedding. Olivia, your dad's losing it. He's telling everyone you're mentally ill, that Ethan's a conman. But I believe. You, meet me tomorrow. I've got info. I hesitated. Mia's kindness had been a lifeline, but trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. I replied, stay safe, I'll reach out. Her response was instant, watch your back. Someone's watching you. The warning chilled me, but there was no time to dwell. A new crisis hit. Rachel's voice crackled through my earpiece. Director, we've got a situation at the wedding venue. Your sister's been attacked. My heart stopped. Chloe, the golden child I'd envied and resented, was in danger. Despite everything, she was still my sister. Details, I snapped, already moving. Marcus pulled up a feed. Chloe, in her bridal suite, had been cornered by a masked assailant. Julian fought him off, but Chloe was shaken, her perfect facade cracked. The attacker escaped, leaving a note. The Harpers fall tonight. Was this tied to me? To Victor? To the cyber attic? The questions piled up, each a thread in a web I couldn't untangle. Ethan grabbed his gear. I'm coming with. You, if this is Nexus, they're escalating. I nodded, my mind racing. The wedding had been a stage, but the real battle was unfolding now. And I was at its center dot. We choppered back to the Fairmont Olympic, landing on the roof under cover of darkness. The hotel was in chaos, guests evacuated, police swarming, media, vans circling like sharks. My team infiltrated through a service entrance, avoiding the press. Inside, Chloe sat in the bridal suite, her gown torn, her face pale. Julian hovered protectively, his eyes darting to me. Olivia, what the hell's going on? He demanded. First you, now Chloe. Is this your fault? The accusation stung, but I kept my voice level. I'm trying to find out, what did the attacker say? Chloe's eyes, usually sharp with disdain, were wide with fear. He said, tell your sister to stop digging or you're all dead. My blood ran cold. This was about me, my role, my secrets. But who knew enough to target Chloe? The mole viper was closer than I'd feared. Victor burst in, his face a mask of rage. You, he roared, pointing at me. This is your doing. Parading around with your fake husband, stirring up lies. Ethan stepped forward, his presence a wall. Back off, Harper. I saw you assault Olivia. I've got the footage, and I'll bury you in court. Victor laughed, a hollow sound. You think you scare me? I built this city. You're nothing, a mercenary playing dress up. The room crackled with tension, the factions clear. Victor's allies, his board members, lingering in the hall nodded, their loyalty tied to his power. But Julian, Mia, and a cluster of younger guests watched me with something like respect. Their phones buzzing with posts supporting #Justice for Olivia. The divide was a chasm, and I was the bridge about to snap dot when the sniper struck again. A window shattered, glass spraying as a bullet grazed my arm. Ethan tackled me to the floor, his team returning fire. Sniper, northwest corner. Marcus shouted, pinpointing the shooter. I clutched my bleeding arm, adrenaline numbing the pain. Get Chloe and Julian out, I ordered. Rachel hustled them to safety while Ethan's men neutralized the threat bot. The shooter was gone, a ghost in the night. My earpiece buzzed Rachel. Urgent. Director, the cyber attacks escalating. Classified mission logs are leaking online. Agents' lives are at risk. The mole was moving fast, exposing my team to enemies worldwide. I had to act, but Victor's voice cut through. You're a curse, Olivia. You've brought this on. You, Saul. His words echoed my childhood fears, but I pushed them down. You built your empire on lies, I shot back. I protect nations. Who's the real failure? The standoff was interrupted by a deafening explosion outside. I ran to the window, my heart sinking. A car bomb had detonated, obliterating my motorcade. Flames licked the night, sirens wailing. Ethan's team confirmed no casualties, but the message was clear. I was a target and no one was safe. We're leaving, Ethan said, his voice brooking no argument. Safe house now. We raced to the roof, the Black Hawk waiting. Evelyn appeared breathless, her diamonds glinting in the moonlight. Olivia, please, she cried. You can't abandon us. Her vulnerability was disarming, but her words betrayed her. The Harper name is ruined. You have to fix this. I stared at her, the mother who'd never protected me. Do you want me, Mom, or the status my title brings? I asked, my voice steady. She faltered, her silence deafening. Victor's actions were excessive, she admitted, avoiding my eyes. It wasn't an apology, but it was more than I'd ever gotten taught as we boarded the chopper. I glanced back. Evelyn stood alone, a diminished figure against the chaos. The Harper legacy was crumbling, and I was both its destroyer and its salvation. At the new safe house, a fortified bunker beneath a tech campus, I dove into the crisis. Rachel's team traced the cyber attic to Nexus Dynamics, but Victor's shady deals, offshore accounts, secret meetings, suggested he'd known more than he let on. Harper Innovations was clean, but only just. The mole, Viper, remained elusive, their betrayal a ticking bomb. Exhausted, I collapsed into a chair, Ethan at my side. You're incredible, he said, his hand brushing my wounded arm, but you don't have to fight alone. I leaned into him, the weight of the night crashing down. I've always fought alone, I whispered. He shook his head. Not anymore. My phone buzzed Mia again. Found something in Julian's office. Documents linking Nexus to your dad. Be careful who you trust. The text was a lifeline and a warning. Mia was risking everything, but was she friend or foe? The questions multiplied. Was Viper someone in my inner circle, or a Harper operative hiding in plain sight? Did Victor orchestrate the attacks to silence me, or is he a pawn in Nexus's game? Why did Chloe's attacker target her, and what secrets does she know? Is Evelyn's plea genuine, or a calculated move to save the Harper brand? What's in those documents Mia found, and will they destroy my family for good? The night ended in our Puget Sound penthouse, the city's lights a distant promise. I stood on the terrace, Ethan's arms around me, and felt a shift. I wasn't the scapegoat anymore. I was Olivia Harper, a woman who'd faced assassins, betrayal, and a family's wrath and emerged stronger. The Harpers faced ruin Victor ousted, Evelyn shunned, but I was free. Mia became my ally, her outsider's heart mirroring mine. My relatives' calls flooded in, chasing my status, not me. I ignored them, guided by my therapist's wisdom. Boundaries weren't punishment. They were survival. Weeks later, I faced a congressional hearing. Victor testifying against me, his lies unraveling under scrutiny. I held my ground, my truth unshakable. At a tense family dinner, I set rules, no disrespect, no comparisons. Victor asked about my work, a faint crack in his armor. Evelyn shared my childhood awards, a silent admission of pride. Chloe, shockingly, confessed her fear of my success, proposing therapy. Healing began slow and jagged, but real. Months on, I hosted a gathering, Ethan, my CIA team, Mia, and select family. My chosen family, built on love, not blood. I looked at them, my heart full. You don't need to be perfect, I told the world. You need to be you. Set boundaries, find your people, and never let anyone dim your light. The Harpers would never be the same, and neither would I, but for the first time, I was enough.